During the Arab Spring of 2011, My Word is Free by Tunisian singer-songwriter and composer Emel Mathlouti became an anthem for the hopes of revolution. But it would be wrong to classify the young artist as a simple protest singer. To create music of social conscience, she draws from sources as different as rock, traditional Arabic music, trip-hop, and electronica. Canapé attends a concert by the artist and talks with her about experimentation and her move to New York.
I first heard about Emel about a year and a half ago. I guess actually read about her through the Crossing Borders Festival, and first got really interested in her and started, thinking about her. But she was living in France, at least I thought at the time, and then she was picked up by an agent in San Francisco, and that was when she was really put on my radar as an artist who was on the touring market. And I felt really strongly about bringing in a female artist from North Africa. For me, I've presented many classical singers from North Africa, but not a lot of contemporary singers. And I think that that is something that's particularly interesting to me, and something that's going to be really interesting for a lot of presenters across the country, because she really has something contemporary and something important and social to say now. And also I think that she plays a role, can play a really strong role here for younger people from the region. And now that she's in New York, it's fantastic, because the barriers have we don't have big barriers, I should say, to her performing a lot.
I really needed a change musically, because after the first album and the long tour, I needed to start like a kind of a new era.
What's the influence of New York in that sound? Is there already an influence of New York in the sound?
I think so, because the musicians that I'm working with are in New York since a while, much longer than me. So for sure there's a bit of New York in the music now, and maybe it's going to be stronger. And I like the way I feel about me not exactly being in New York, but not exactly in Paris anymore, and being a Tunisian, but a different kind of Tunisian. So it's really interesting. I mean, I'm very curious about how people are gonna listen to that.
landscape at all, the political landscape, but now are part of and are completely integrated in the political landscape. What is your feeling about this? Is that something that is necessary? Is it something that you feel is?
I don't think it's necessary. Actually, I think that it's really important that artists are very responsible about what's going on in their society, especially in Tunisia. And it's really great that they're seen that they are important, which wasn't the case. But I also would like them to be also very independent, because I don't think it's very, very safe to be too much linked to especially political parties, no matter what the political party is. So it's nice to show support, but I don't think the support should be very, very close. I think everybody is excited because there might be a big change in the political scene in Tunisia. But I like just, to feel very hopeful and to do my way, to do my thing.
This is called All is Full of Love, and I want to dedicate it tonight for the most wonderful person I've never known, the most wonderful husband.
French writer, scholar Francoise Vergès has devoted decades of her life to researching the past of slavery in order to make the broader public know its enduring effects. What do we know of slavery? How do we know it? How did capitalism create the inhuman institution? Canapé catches the French thinker as she visits New York to speak on these post-colonial themes.
It's very important to see that it was against an incredible machine, in terms of image, text, thinking. So it's that also to explain to people, because otherwise people say, why did we have slavery for so long? It to explain how our consent was fabricated. And therefore our consent is fabricated also today. How we can, let me just say, for instance, effectively people quite often were telling me, oh, but that was then. Today we will not do that, that was then, today. And I say, okay, how many people here, in the room have a car? Usually a lot of people have a car or use car. I say, well, every time we fill the tank, we cannot think about how many dead in Iraq today, how many kilometers were, polluted in the Gulf of Biafra and people living in total poverty. Because I'm going to tell you, but I need that car. I need to pick up my kid at school. I need to go to my work, and so I can feed my family. So if I stop, filling my tank, what am I going to do? Tell me, give me a solution. And so it was to explain how we got caught into incredible, invisible ties, but very concrete to the exploitation. So it's not that I am directly, exploiting that person. The way in 18th century, some people were not everyone was a slave owner or a slave trader. But slowly, everyone started to consume sugar, tobacco, coffee, cotton, and contributed to that economy. So it's this, for me, it's to explaining things like that, to explain anti-black racism. And so you don't need jargon to say that. You don't need at all. It's really explaining, it's a human history. These were human beings, women and men, and also so that fabrication of consent that you have to explain. Well, what I wanted to do in that book, saying, what's slavery, what we call colonial slavery in terms, historically between 16th and 19th century, is teaching us about our time. It's very striking the fact that slavery is illegal in every country today, right? Internationally, and still is still there. So what explains the fact, and it's not just because people are backward somewhere, no, it's how the economic system still need a part of bonded labor in the production of something. Our smartphone, part of it will be, mineral extracted in situation of bonded labor in Africa or elsewhere. So what I wanted to explain is the way in which an economic system was constructed in the 16th century, which is still with us. It's no longer the slave ship, transporting people and deporting millions of Africans to the Americas or to the Indian Ocean colony, but that situation of bonded labor connected to consumption. Europe wanted coffee, sugar, tobacco, chocolate, cotton. It became indispensable to the life of, even the way, being a man smoking. And then you started, receiving people, that meant offering coffee and sugar with cakes. So all this product penetrated social and cultural life. You don't receive people, without offering. This is part now of being a social person. And so 18th century, but that was putting at total distance how this has been produced. And I wanted to show that today, this continues also. That distance made between our rights as consumer. I am a consumer, I have a right to have oil, I have the right to have bananas on my table, and pineapple and coffee and sugar. And they may be produced, with bonded labor or forced labor or incredible exploitation, but I need them. So it was that construction of a system which is not just ideological. It's also the way in which we become part of that economic system because we have become consumer of very, thing that we need, are indispensable for our daily lives. So I wanted to explain it's not just big things, that we don't need to be the descendant of a slave owner or the descendant, but it's penetrate our life. So that's what I thought I meant by what slavery can teach us about our time. The fact that today you still have situation of bonded labor. Either, for instance, the industry of care, women taking care of elderly, of children in a lot of countries, not just the Western country. As I say, also the fact that to keep a lot of goods on, cheap, that means that a part of it will be bonded labor. The fact that we want to have our T-shirt very cheap and they are, produced by people who are in situation of forced labor or bonded labor, etc., etc., etc. How the world of consumption, either food or product, is saturated by a part of bonded labor.
Since the NATO attack in 2011, there have been 30,000 dead, 100,000 wounded, and hundreds of thousands displaced due to the war in Libya. The recent escalation has brought the collapse of the Libyan state and a massive wave of migrants seeking refuge in Europe. In August 2014, we traveled with Tunisian blogger and human rights activist Enda Shanawi to the border of Tunisia and Libya in the Sahara Desert. We visited with refugees at Shusha camp who continue to struggle in their quest for asylum. We later met two Somalian women stranded in Tunisia on their way to Europe. Finally, we listened to a father whose son, attempting to reach Lampedusa, drowned in the Mediterranean Sea. While there are no borders of war, there are very real borders for migrants. They are the first casualties.
Mon titre à moi, c'était les véritables frontières de la guerre en Libye. Actuellement, on parle d'une guerre en Libye et des frontières entre les deux pays, la Tunisie et la Libye. On réalise que la guerre arrive jusqu'au sud de la Tunisie. Ça veut dire que les gens du sud, ils subissent et ils vivent des changements brusques dus à la guerre civile libyenne. Et donc, mis à part en fait l'enjeu sécuritaire, les priorités en fait de lutte contre le terrorisme en Tunisie, etc. Il y a des répercussions dans la vie de tous les jours des Tunisiens du Sud que malheureusement personne ne voit.
At this very moment, you and I will know that Libya is politically, there is no government there. And the country itself, I mean for the citizen, is insecure. I don't know if you understand. We always see the military and the National Guard like they are always prepared, you know, moving in the camps with, but there is one fact there. They communicate with no one. They don't even tell you if there is security threat or if there is any problem coming from the other side of the border or what.
Why you stay here, there is nothing, and you don't go to the city, you don't try to work, you don't try to have another life, because if the UN refuse to help you.
When the UN closed this camp, it was the same Tunisian NGO who came and dilapidated the camp. How did they dilapidate the camp? We have some tanks for drinking waters. Some of these local NGOs, they dilapidated the full camp. Is it that they were not acting with their conscience? The fact remains that this is something we cannot resolve ourselves. This is a question that is supposed to be posed to the United Nations that established the camp, because today, even those that are rejected in the camp, they have a document with file number registered under the UN that is proving that they are under the United Nations. He had two major surgical operation, the spinal cord. Then the other, I think, the urine system. We were protesting in front of the European Union delegation building at LAC, because as at then already we have some refugees who occupy the UN building at the same LAC. So we were as well occupying the European Union delegation, you know, and we believe that place is never a wrong address, because these are the people responsible for our issue. That is the reason why we had to protest there in front of them with our demand. And what is the demand? We need a safe third country with effective asylum system, not Tunis.
Quand on parle des habitants du Sud, ce n'est pas seulement les Tunisiens, mais aussi les réfugiés libyens et aussi les migrants africains et les réfugiés africains. Parce que et c'est pour la première fois dans l'histoire de la Tunisie, l'histoire récente, qu'il y a autant d'émigrés étrangers dans notre pays. Donc, et c'est devenu permanent. Ça veut dire que ces gens-là ne vont plus partir, en fait. Et cette information ou cette réalité est totalement oubliée.
Ta question?
Ton résumé, comme ça je peux savoir.
Oui, en fait, on a parlé de Al-Shabaab, de la violence en Somalie, de pourquoi elles sont parties en Libye, de la période en prison en Libye. Après,
pourquoi est-ce qu'elles sont en prison en Libye?
Parce qu'elles sont passées les frontières sans visa, sans autorisation.
Combien de temps elles sont passées?
Elles sont restées en Libye 7 mois en prison.
7 mois en prison?
7 mois en prison, oui.
La question c'est qui fait la guerre en Somalie?
Oui, j'ai posé la question. J'ai posé la question, elles ont dit, on ne sait pas qui, mais c'est l'argent qui vient de l'étranger. C'est des forces étrangères et qui financent Al-Shabaab et qui veulent absolument pas avoir une stabilité. Ça veut dire Al-Shabaab, ce qu'elles ont compris, c'est qu'Al-Shabaab ne cherche pas le pouvoir. Il ne cherche pas le pouvoir et le gouvernement. Il veut tout le temps déstabiliser le pays et c'est tout.
Et là, look at here. Look at
Good. Le lien est très simple en fait. Elles viennent de la Somalie, elles ont fui Al-Shabaab et la répression, la guerre en Somalie. Et elles ont fait en fait le trajet de Zouara jusqu'à, voulant arriver à Lampedusa, mais elles n'ont pas réussi à le faire.
Martin. Voilà. Hop, voilà. Et ça toujours, c'est copine va faire. Ici et là, et au mur là, derrière, il a fait avec les peintures.
Mais il a écrit ça quand?
Avant de partir à moi. Avant de partir. Voilà, c'est ici. Comme ça? Voilà. Abdallah. Tu as vu son nom? Abdallah. Mais tu sais, mon fils, il est avec son oncle. Ça veut dire ma femme, elle a perdu son fils et son frère. Pour mon fils, il est mort, ça veut dire il est mort exprès. Avec un cas, avec une cause. C'est pas tout seul. S'il est noyé tout seul, je vais dire merci à Allah et c'est tout. Lui, il m'a donné, lui, il l'a pris. Mais ce qui m'a fait mal au cœur, qu'il n'était pas, ça veut dire mort normal. Elle appartient à la ministère de Défense tunisienne et à la base marine de Sfax. Elle s'appelle Horia 300D. Mon fils et les autres qui vont aller, les clandestins, quand on dit des clandestins, ou ils devaient passer la frontière sans... Il a demandé au capitaine des bateaux d'arrêter le moteur, il a arrêté le moteur. Tous les gens, ils sont à genoux, les mains en l'air. Et pour la frégate, elle est venue directement au bateau. Elle a entré au milieu. Il y en a la passerelle des bateaux. Elle a coupé les bateaux en deux. Malte, l'Italie, Lampedusa, la Tunisie, la Libye. Voilà, dans ces rectangulaires-là, ils vont faire la nouvelle cimetière des immigrés. Tu sais, maintenant, la mer Méditerranée est le plus grand cimetière du monde pour les corps. Et ici, ils vont faire la nouvelle cimetière. Un accord entre les 5. Voilà.
On change carrément de priorité. C'est ce qui arrive actuellement en Tunisie. L'agenda politique, la transition politique et tout, tout a stoppé et actuellement ça change de stratégie. Et les gens aussi sont en train de se préparer psychologiquement à un changement brusque, au pire en fait. Au pire. Parce que voilà, parce qu'on sait très bien que il n'y a pas de frontières, justement. Parce que les Tunisiens savent très bien qu'il n'y a pas de frontières.